What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another hero spotlight. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about the Poison Dart Tower Huntress lately, and we all know that she is a pretty mean girl, a bit on the OP side, and I'm almost positive will get changed in some way over the coming months once some more balance fixes come into play. However, the Poison Dart Tower is kind of the flavor of the month thing to use right now, and one of the main reasons is it's just so darn easy to get geared out for. Now, first off, Poison Dart Towers stack ridiculously well with defense power. So, when you're respeccing, the first thing you want to do is max that defense power out. Now, in addition to that, as with all of your builders, you want to throw 50 points max into your defense range. Well, I guess I can't say all your builders anymore, as the EV2 doesn't get much of a benefit from that, if any. And then it's kind of debatable, but I like to go ahead and max out the defense speed as well. Now, on the Poison Dart Tower Huntress, since the defense power scales so well, that's priority number one for sure. We're going to have those 30 left over. You can dump those into defense health or defense crit. I'm going to go ahead and put my last 30 into defense health, just because defense crit doesn't really seem to matter that much. Now, you know, you do get a little benefit out of defense crit, and as you see, I do have defense crit on most of my pieces of gear. However, the benefit is so minuscule that you're almost better off just going with defense health and then not having to think about it at all if you get any flyers dive bombing into your towers. Now, the bread and butter, of course, of this build is the Toxic Shock Bow. Currently, it drops on the Chrome Enemies Incursion, and that's the one you're going to want to farm. You can get this up to item power 700. You see, my item power on this one is not spectacular. It's at 17, fully upgraded. The key things that I really was looking for was, first off, the Viper's Bite. You want to have the 20% increased Poison Dart Tower damage. That's a big priority. 20% is the top, so you want to make sure that you get yourself to that 20%. And then as well, you want to also look at that explosion radius. This explosion radius has a very large range. I'm not even sure exactly what it is, but I've seen it as low as like 600 or 700 and as high as, say, like 1600. And of course, the bigger the explosion radius, the easier you're going to allow your poison to chain to the next enemy. As you see there, on death, poisoned enemies detonate and deal 58% of defense power as damage to enemies. More importantly, the damage that they do is not important from the detonation. What is important as getting that poison to spread, is that's where the bulk of your damage is coming from. Now, the Envenom passive is also important to have. I've actually got a pretty low roll on mine. This increases the poison attack rate of Poison Dart Towers by 14%. However, I was so happy with the 20% PDT damage and the 1332 explosion radius that I've just stuck with this bow, and I haven't gone back farming for another, which I'm actually probably due to go ahead and take another trip to Chrome Enemies and try to get a better upgrade from this bow. Now, you are going to see Towering Poison still dropping. Let's see if I can find a piece with it here. I know I've got to have one somewhere. No. Where are you, Towering Poison? There we go. Towering Poison increases Poison Dart Tower defense health by 125% of your defense health. This actually makes your PDTs very beastly. However, this is a passive that's not supposed to be in the game any longer. So you will still find the pieces dropping with this passive on it. However, as I mentioned, it's a passive that's not supposed to be here. So I personally don't use it just because I don't want to get used to it, and because I know it's going to be either changing or going away, as it's not supposed to be in the game. Now, the number one question I've been getting asked is, how did I get my range so juicy? As you see, my level 1, tier 1 PDT tower range is 5318, which is pretty nice, and then all the way upgraded to tier 5, it's 6382. So this gives you a pretty ridiculous range on them, and a lot of people are unsure of how to get it. And this is how you do it. First things first, you got to make sure you're using the proper skill spheres. Now, I actually don't even use all of the skill spheres from range, as I find that my range is more than sufficient, and I get a greater damage benefit out of defense power, even over defense speed. I'm getting about 1,000 more damage per tick just from that 42 defense power. So it just gives you an idea of how extremely well defense power scales with the PDTs. Now, of course, for other small spears, we're going to go with the poison dart range spheres, which give us 2% each. For the mediums, you want poison dart range spheres, which are going to give you 25% each. And then for your large sphere, you want to go with poisonous fangs, which is going to increase the damage of poison dart tower's poison by 30%. Now, all of this, of course, combined with the power of that toxic shock bow, makes the PDTs just hit absolutely stupid hard. Now, let's run down here and take a look at them on the target dummy. Now, as I mentioned, the real power of this bow comes with the poison spreading. But we see just with raw DPS alone, unupgraded, my poison dart towers bounce between, what, 43,000 and 31,000? So, pretty big range, but overall, I mean, a really, really solid tower. And of course, it's doing AoE damage. Plus, every time one of these targets dies, they're going to explode and spread that poison to everything in the area. So it's just, it's an absolute insane AoE tool currently. Now, as I mentioned, there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be getting changed before too long. Right now, it is just very, very powerful. Now, when you look at the tooltip on your poison dart towers, you're going to think, oh my god, the DPS is 1300. That's just pathetic. You know, my pet does more than that. But if you look down at poison damage, in my case at tier 1, it's ticking for 28,192 every 0.86 seconds. Insane. That, of course, is turning into this 40,000 DPS that you're seeing roll on off. Now, when you get these fully upgraded, oh man, the damage just climbs. You see we get into that 130,000 range, 127, 133. Very, very nice. Now remember, all three of these target dummies here are taking damage. So it is shooting multiple targets as intended. Now, one thing I've found is if you actually look at its fire pattern, it shoots one dart into one target, another dart into a second, and another into a third. And then it seems like it actually changes multiple darts into the original target before it chooses another, which is kind of a little strange, but it doesn't even matter because as the targets die, of course, they're going to explode and spread that poison for that massive, massive amount of DPS. One more important thing regarding range is you do not want Huntress gear. I know, you're thinking, what the fuck? You know, why would I not have Huntress gear on my Huntress? And the reason is all of the Huntress gear is targeted towards traps. Let's bust out the Traptress here. All of the passives, of course, volatile schematics, tripwire, those are specifically designed for traps and give no benefit to your poison dart towers. Your poison dart towers are a projectile tower, so you want to use either apprentice or squire gear. I personally am using squire gear because I have a pretty fat set for my cannonball squire, and I essentially just kind of lent that set to the Huntress, to this Huntress, until the PDT gets smacked down. But the passives you're looking for here are Vector Corrector. That is the passive. It increases projectile tower range by up to 3%. You can get this on all 4 pieces of your armor, plus on your medallion, and just end up getting that's an additional 15% range. When you're talking about a range of, what did I say it was? 6,300. That extra 15% is getting me additional 900 range, essentially calculated into that number. So definitely a huge range booster. It gets your poison flowing way, way down the field. So I hope this helps everyone out. Hopefully that alleviates some of the questions on the Poison Dart Tower Huntress. If you currently aren't using PDTs and you're in a large farming or grinding state, you're definitely making it more difficult on yourself, as Poison Dart Towers are kind of the flavor to be thrown down right now. You want to have one of them on every lane for pretty much any build currently, as there's nothing that really can compare to it when you look at just the power of that bow. Now, my set, of course, is pretty dialed in. I've got all the increased range. I've got, you know, a heavy item power, which raises my defense power way up. However, this build, all it requires is this bow. If you have this bow and just any defense power pieces, you're going to easily be able to clear any Nightmare 4 contact with just very, very basic builds. So hope this helps everyone. Thank you for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back soon for some more DD2. See ya!